Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm a writer-producer, and my throat is dry.
Hey guys, my name is Kelly. Self-proclaimed book nerd, writer, and I am just excited to talk about this book, The Concrete Rose. I'm really pumped actually about this episode.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Books We Should Have Read podcast, the show on a mission to get adults who typically aren't into reading through the exploration of Black literary classics. This pod is an extension to the BWSR community, and you can find our complete book list for this season at booksweshouldhaveread.com. Tune in each episode as we discuss what we liked and disliked about these reads and whether or not they're worth your time. Let's summarize. I'm going to lean on you to summarize this one because you're so fucking good at it.
Okay, so a summary of Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This is the prequel to The Hate U Give. So the way that Angie set it up is you read The Hate U Give first and then you read Concrete Rose. And Concrete Rose is the story of Maverick Carter, who is Star Carter's father. He has a very, great character. He's a great character in The Hate U Give. In Concrete Rose, we are going back in time and we are spending about, I would say, like a year and a half in Maverick's life between the ages of 17 and 18, because this was a pivotal point in his life. A lot of changes happen. He becomes a teen father to a child. He experiences great loss, but also growth. I think that's the theme with Angie's books, is what I'm finding is just the character growth is phenomenal. And you just root for these characters and just you follow Maverick, who is trying his hardest. Like, he is kind of at this crossroads, right? And he can go right or he can go left. And he is trying his hardest to make the right decision for not only himself, but for his new baby and for his future. And I think it's just such a beautiful story where we get to witness what he decides and how he gets there, because it's not an easy choice. Like, none of the choices he makes are easy, nor are they simple. And then when you think about the fact that he is only 17 when this starts, you're just like, how? Like, the resilience and the strength of him, I think it's so commendable. Highly recommend. I can't wait for you guys to read this book and let us know what you think. And if you haven't read it yet, go out, grab it, go to your library, go buy it, support your local bookstore if you can. Pick it up and just let us know what you think. But I think this is going to be a solid read for a lot of people, and I think people will enjoy it.
Cool. So the list of characters, I guess we could start with Maverick, because this book is
Ashley, you can finally go full-fledged fangirl. I know we restrained you in the Hate U Give episode, but please, girl, let that fangirl flag fly.
I know. I was trying so hard not to give too much insight into Maverick's character because after reading The Concrete Rose, okay, but I'm just going to say it like this. Well, I'll just remind everyone that I watched The Hate U Give when it came out, and then I read Concrete Rose. So you and I, we read them you read them in the right order that Angie meant for readers to read them, with The Hate U Give first, and then you read the prequel, which goes back in time, and then I read Concrete Rose. Well, I saw the movie. Then I read Concrete Rose. And then I read The Hate U Give. So going into The Hate U Give, I had a whole new understanding for this dynamic character and a lot of background. I love Maverick so fucking much. It is not even funny. Maverick, like, seriously exposed my daddy wound to, like, on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Like, I always knew that, like, growing up without my biological father bothered me, right? But I didn't know how much it impacted my life until I read this novel. Like, afterwards, I was walking around the house for weeks, like, moping, saying shit like, "Oh, I wish I had a dad." Like,
don't. You guys, I'm not trying to laugh, but Ashley, Ashley's face when she says this. Babe, oh, boo-boo.
I know, but I appreciated Maverick so much. But anyway, the book starts when he's 17 years old. Yeah. He lives in Garden Heights. He is a king lord. He joined the gang for protection because he is the son of Big Don, who was the crown of the king lords. So the head of the gang that he's a part of. But Big Don went away to prison when he was a young boy. And so now the crown of the king lords, is it Dre? Is Dre the crown? Or is it Sean?
I believe it's neither of them. I think Dre and Sean just are over the, as they call them, the little homies, because they're considered the big homies, and then there's people above them.
Okay.
That's
that.
What I got. Yeah.
Yeah. So Maverick is a young 17-year-old boy. And we enter the book just as he finds out that he is the father of baby. Is it baby? It's not baby 7.
So
baby King.
We find, So I would say, for sure. That's how we start the book, is like the earliest scenes is just basically Maverick at the clinic waiting for the paternity results back from this infant baby, who up until this point was assumed to be Maverick's best friend King's son. He's even named after King, because it's King's girlfriend who had the baby. Long
story, but we'll get there.
So I describe Maverick as, this is going to might sound corny, but I describe him as the truth. He is like all that is, like, he's so true to himself, so true to his journey and where he wants to go and where he wants to see himself. And as you read the book, you will see that there are so many options he could have taken and so many routes that seemed easier that he didn't take. Because to your point, Ashley, especially in our Black communities, unfortunately, a lot of people grow up without fathers. And 7 could have easily got that paternity test and been like, okay, well, good luck. Oh, 7, sorry. King could have, Maverick could have easily gotten that paternity test and been like, all right, well, good luck, girl, with that baby. See you never. And he immediately took responsibility. And I just think that is so great. And I think that the baby who we now can call 7, because he does get his name changed, is Maverick's purpose. He is his purpose for everything. Once Maverick takes responsibility, he's like, okay, I have to do this for my child. Like, I have to make sure my child is good. I can't depend on my mom. My mom needs help too. And he's just trying to figure it all out. And he's still 17. Like, the decisions he's making, I can't even make them decisions at 30.
Girl, I listen, okay? But, I'm so happy you brought that up, because also Aisha leaves him no choice. So, which enter in a new character, Aisha, who is King's girlfriend. And so, and baby King, now 7's mom. And so how Angie describes it in the story is Maverick only had sex with Aisha one time, but it was right after he had a serious breakup with his boo thing, and he was sad. And his best friend King was just like, well, let me do something for you. And so King kind of just passed Aisha off to Maverick to get down. That one time resulted in baby King, now 7, paternity. Guys. It only takes once. It only takes once. Listen, we could get into it, but I'm not trying to right now. But so yeah, they get the paternity test, and Aisha and her mom leave baby King with Maverick at the clinic. she just leaves a diaper bag filled with like clothes and like disappears when Maverick and his mom Faye go to change the baby's diaper. So at 17 years old, he's not only a father, but now he is like this child's only parent. And so it really just takes single parenting to a whole nother level.
Yeah, man. It was like the decision was definitely made for him, and he stepped up to the plate.
Oh, I love this man. Okay. So we did Maverick, King, Aisha. I guess this is a good time to talk about Maverick's boo thing, who in this novel is also Lisa. Do you want to tell them who Lisa
is? So Lisa is Maverick's first love. She is a basketball player. She is a student athlete, like a great athlete, a great student. She's got her head on, as you know, as adults would say, she got a head on straight. She is, you know, she has these dreams. She wants to go to university, and her goal and her dream is to make something of herself. And she really, really loves Maverick, and they care about each other so much. And she also wants what's best for Maverick. Like, her dream for him is to get out of Garden Heights, go to college, and just become something more than what people are expecting of him. And that's what I think I love about Lisa so much, is that even at such a young age, she tells Maverick constantly and reinforces that you are more than your father's son, and you are more than this King Lord's gang. Like, she despises it because she knows how great of a person he is and how great of a man he can be. Like, she sees that for him before he sees it for himself. And they're so young, and I think she's just that pivotal, like one of those pivotal characters in the book that, you know, is so needed. And I just adore their relationship so much.
Next to Lisa, we also have Carlos, who is Lisa's older brother. And I'm just going to mention him briefly. He absolutely despises Maverick, thinks he's terrible for his sister, and thinks that he's really going to ruin Lisa's life. And I guess we could talk about Lisa's mom too, who is no nonsense, but she is a theater teacher, very dramatic. We don't really need to go too far into it, but just when Lisa gets pregnant by Maverick, she kicks Lisa out of the house. So she's that type of like no nonsense figure.
Yeah. And then to me, a very important character that we should bring up is Dre. He is Maverick's, I called him, you know, he's Maverick's older cousin, but he's also his confidant. He's his support system. He's his friend. He's his brother. I think he was also the catalyst for Maverick to make sure he was on the like a right path. Like, because Andre is, you know, although he is also in this gang, he is a great family man. He has a fiance and a young daughter, and he takes care of them and just puts them first and family first. And Maverick wants to be like his older cousin, right? Because his father has been in jail since he was 8. So Andre, or Dre, is literally his big brother / father figure.
Mentor?
Yeah. Just a father figure to him too. Like, so in his eyes, he's like, okay, I think my cousin is a good man, and he's a good man because of all these things that he does. And that is how I can be a good man too, is being there for my family and making sure I'm there for my child. So I think he is just, and he's also a pivotal part of this story of Maverick's character growth. And also want to talk about Mr. Wyatt. He owns the local grocery store, and he becomes a huge part of Maverick's life. He's a deacon at a church. He's a loving husband. He was a foster father. Him and Mrs. Wyatt raised so many foster kids. They are like pillars in the community. They're always looking out for the kids in the community. And Maverick's relationship with him is so beautiful. And I love like the little tidbits we get through Concrete Rose, because in The Hate U Give, Maverick keeps a garden. He's obsessed with his rose bushes. And we kind of learn about where that all came from in The Concrete Rose through his relationship with Mr. Wyatt. So I think those are the characters. I mean, well, obviously, if you have any other ones that you want to.
No, I looked up because I'm like thinking. I think that we like.
I think those are the main ones. Like we'll talk about other ones throughout the book as they come up. But like to me, those are the main characters.
Did we want to make mention of Faye right now or no? We can wait.
I think we can wait. I mean, Faye is Maverick's.
You already know why I want to bring it up.
Oh gosh. Ashley's like a pivotal point, a spoiler, and it's just like, girl, it ain't really
spoiler alert, guys.
Not really, but Faye is Maverick's mother, single mom, hard worker, and she also keeps Maverick in line because she's like, like you were gonna raise this baby, you're gonna be taking care of him. I'm not going to be babysitting for you all day, every day. This is your responsibility. And I love that about her.
Even, and she was like that even before Aisha just like dipped on the baby.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. She was already like that. So those are the characters I have.
Wait. Do you hear that? That silence could be filled with an advertisement for your new product or brand. Email us at info@booksweshouldhaveread.com if you'd like to be a sponsor for and have your ad placed within the Books We Should Have Read podcast. We can't wait to welcome you to the family. So it is, I think it is extremely important to know, and I'm not sure you said this in the summary or not, but this book takes place in the late 90s. So 98, the book opens at the summer of 98. And so culturally, for our community, like that is such an important stage in Black culture. That is when Tupac was popping. You just think of the fashion, you just think of the music that they're listening to, the level of consciousness in the community as a whole. All of that impacts Maverick and his life. And I'm so happy you brought up the importance of Dre to the story, because I really, aside from being completely obsessed with Maverick, I loved Dre and Maverick's relationship so much. And as someone who didn't grow up with a father, those types of relationships meant so much to me coming up as well. Like having that older person who could teach me about, like having someone who I look up to as a mentor who is older than me, but then still like not too far away from me, that they're completely detached from my adolescent ass issues. And I just think it's such a gift. Never undervalue those types of relationships, because the way that Dre's life definitely helped to inform Maverick, and Maverick watching Dre as a father, but also as a gang member, and also Dre's relationship to his community. That is all who Maverick is in Concrete Rose, and well, who he's trying to be in Concrete Rose, but who he ultimately becomes in The Hate U Give as well. And one of the moments that sticks out to me most is when they were riding in the car and Maverick and Dre start to talk about the Tupac theories. Hail Mary by Tupac start on the stereo. That's my joint right there. Pac the greatest to ever do it. Hard to believe he'd been going almost 2 years now. I remember when the radio announced he got shot in Vegas. I figured he'd be alright. He survived getting shot 5 times in New York. Dude was invincible. A few days later, he was dead. At least that's what they said. Yo, did you hear? Pac alive. Dre laughed. Get out of here. Next, you gonna tell me the world ended in the year 2000. People already bugging over this Y2K stuff. saying the year 2000 gonna bring the apocalypse. We gotta make it through 98 first. I don't know if that's true, I admit. They said on the radio that Pac lived in Cuba with his auntie Asada. The government had a hit on him. Come on, Mav. Bill Clinton wouldn't put a hit on Pac. Ma said Bill Clinton the closest thing we may ever get to a black president. Shit. I don't know, man. Pac's family full of Black Panthers, and he spoke so much truth. Word is, he'll come back in 2003. Why 2003? Dre says. It's 7 years after he faked his death, I say. Pac got all these connections to the number 7. He was shot on the 7th. He died 7 days after that, exactly 7 months to the day that All Eyes on Me dropped. That's a coincidence, Mav. Hear me out. He died at 4:03 p.m. 4 plus 3 is 7. He was born on the 16th. 1 plus 6, 7. Dre rubbed his chin. He was also 25 when he died. Right. 2 plus 5, 7. Then the name of his last album, that Machiavelli joint, The 7-Day Theory, says Dre. Exactly. I'm telling you, he planned this. Okay, let's say he did, Dre says. Why he focus on the number 7? Apparently it's a holy number. I don't know. I shrug. I'll have to look more into that. Okay, well, I'll admit it. All that do seem planned out. But Pac not alive, Mav. You said it seemed planned out. Yeah, but only cowards hide and fake their deaths. Pac wasn't a coward. I don't care if the government wanted him dead. He would have gone out in a blaze of glory. True that. Pac was the definition of a writer. He wouldn't be hiding from nobody. All right, you got me there. And also, that is a very important moment to me because that is how 7
gets his
eventually
name.
got his name.
Yeah, because it means perfect. It's perfection. And Maverick,
yes.
in Maverick's eyes, 7 is perfect.
Right. So in that moment, like Maverick's drawing all these connections and then 7 keeps popping up, but then he does further research on 7 and like you said, discovers like its true meaning and names his perfect little boy 7. And I also love Maverick so much because he took intentional fatherhood or parenthood to a whole other level, like down to giving his kids names that actually mean something and who they are to represent in the world. And I just thought, because my name is Ashley, like basic as fuck. Like, I just love that so much. Maverick is just, he's everything to me. He really is. Like I don't know if I want him to be my daddy or my zaddy, you know?
I truly think though, that is a testament to Angie's amazing writing because the connection that you feel with these characters, like how connected we are with 7 and his 7, with Maverick and his growth, with Star and her growth, with Lisa, with Dre, with all these characters. Like she makes you care about these characters. Like you genuinely root for them. You're like just happy that they exist in this novel, right? And I think that that's just a testament because this is all based on another person's writing.
Yes, but okay. What I also love is that this is not historical fiction, right? But the fact that like this world is very real. Like all these things that she's talking about are very real. And she just created this life of characters, this web of characters, this beautiful community inside a world that we already know to be true. And I just think that that is like, that's good ass writing. That's good ass storytelling right there. So kudos to Angie. She did the damn thing with this one.
She did a phenomenal job. I think for, and to just carry on, like a part of the book that just really stood out for me was, Maverick. I keep wanting to say 7. Maverick, like his daughter Star in The Hate You Give, he experiences tremendous loss in Concrete Rose and that his cousin Dre is murdered. And it like it is such an emotional scene and it's so heartbreaking. And I think what's even more heartbreaking is Maverick realizing that his support system, his best friend, his confidant, like his this huge figure in his life is no longer there, just instantly is gone. And how he deals with those emotions. And this is where I just adore the character of Mr. Wyatt, because Maverick, is working with Mr. Wyatt part-time, and Mr. Wyatt kind of sees that this young man is struggling, but doesn't know how to express this emotion that he's feeling, this hurt. And in Maverick's eyes, in order to be a real man and to show he's a man, he can't let this emotion out. He can't cry. And just that relationship where Maverick feels comfortable to express his fears and his worries and his sadness. Hurry up, son. That garlic won't put itself in the ground. I could fall over. That's how tired I am. Mr. Wyatt, just a few more minutes, please. No, sir. Time is money, money is time, and you wasting mine. Hey, that rhymed. Think I can be a rapper? A hip hop or a hippity hop? Ain't that how y'all do it? If he don't take his Dr. Seuss behind on somewhere, can I have some water? Mr. Wyatt sipped his lemonade. Refreshing. What you need water for? I'm thirsty. No, you're not. That's the reefer talking. I'm not high no more. I'm thirsty. I need a break. Nah, now. Apparently all you need is reefer. You were bold enough to show up to work high. You must have thought you needed it. I wanted to get Dre out of my head, I ain't mean to snap, but it's enough to shut Mr. Wyatt up. He set his glass down and pat the spot beside him. Come here, son. I drop the hoe and go over there. As hard as this concrete bench is, it feel like the best thing ever. You wanted to get your cousin off your mind and you thought that drugs were the best way to do that? Mr. Wyatt asked. Not drugs, Mr. Wyatt, weed. Which is considered a drug, son, he says. It may not be harmful like the others, but it's illegal and you're only 17. You don't need to be getting high. I fold my arms on top of my lap. I told you I was trying to get Dre out of my head. Why? I look at him. Why would I want to think about that? That was my brother, and I saw him with a bullet. I shake my head. I can't think on that. Why? You a therapist or something? Why? He repeats. 'Cause I gotta keep pushing. I can't sit around crying over Dre. I gotta be a man. Mr. Wyatt don't say anything for a real long time. He sighs. Son, one of the biggest lies ever told is that black men don't feel emotions. Guess it's easier not to see us as a human when you think we're heartless. Fact of the matter is, we feel things. Hurt, pain, sadness, all of it. We got a right to show them feelings as much as anybody else. I stare at the ground, legs shaking like they ready to bolt me out of here. It ain't possible to run from all the things swirling inside of me. I've been trying since the day Dre died, and I ain't got nowhere. Mr. Wyatt grabbed the back of my neck, strong enough to tell me he got me, but gentle enough to almost be a hug. Let it out, he says. The sound come out of me, and I don't know if I'm screaming or crying. I pull my shirt over my mouth, but that don't muffle the sobs. It only catches my tears. Mr. Wyatt wraps his arms around me. He holds me tight as if he know I'm breaking, and he trying to keep me together. It's okay, son, he says. No, it ain't. As long as my cousin is dead, it never will be. I think that was so beautiful. Like, I just adored it. Like, I just loved that this older man who, at face value, you think like, oh, he's an older guy. He's just probably thinks that these young kids are the worst, especially these kids affiliated with gangs. And it's not like that at all. Like, he wants what's best for Maverick and for the rest of the kids in the community. And he does that. He tries to do that any way he can. And I just think that like that relationship is it's unique, and it's also just so important. And I think it was also a testament to, I think that relationship between Mr. Wyatt and Maverick is why we end up getting the Maverick Carter that we have in The Hate U Give, the Maverick Carter who becomes an amazing father, an amazing husband, is because he had a Dre and a Mr. Wyatt in his adolescence.
Yes. But that's like, Garden Heights is the epitome of like, the saying, like, it takes a village.
Yes.
Boom. You're like, great minds right here. Because like, they like raised these kids together. Like, they impacted these children's lives in such a positive way. In the midst of a ton of bullshit, but they did it together. And I just love it. Like, I just love how we were saying in The Hate U Give, well, you were saying in The Hate U Give how you get your hair cut by this person. You go to Mr. Rubin for the soul food.
Yes.
You go to Mr. Wyatt to get the groceries. And later you go to Big Mav's store to get the groceries. You know, it's just, that's like a dream community. And it reminds me of how we grew up when I lived in that town for a little bit.
Everybody's
like
looking out
everyone.
everybody's looking out for everybody. Everybody's watching the kids play outside. Like, they know, you know, it's a safety in the community, right? It's like, okay, in Garden Heights, yeah, there's violence and there's gangs, but there's also this inner nucleus that looks out for each other and has each other's backs. And I think that is so beautiful. And I think community is a prominent theme throughout this book. And it's community with, you know, everybody kind of getting together and helping Maverick raise 7, you know, from Mrs. Wyatt babysitting on days that he has to work at the grocery store to like his mom or, you know, Dre coming over to just like check on him and have some fun with him when he knows that his little cousin is just struggling with this being new to fatherhood and feeling so overwhelmed and still being a high school student. It's just all of those things, I think, is truly what just makes this book so, so special. Is there something you want to advertise on Books We Should Have Read? Email us at info@booksweshouldhaveread.com. That's info@booksweshouldhaveread.com.
Okay. So,
Ashley,
as you guys probably...
what are you rating? Ashley, what are you rating this book? What you
already know.
I think everybody knows, but we'll let you say it.
I gave it 5 stars. Like, to me, I don't want to say what you said last time because it really makes so much sense. But like, the fact that Angie knew that we needed Maverick's story,
yes,
is like, it's just so awesome. Too often, you know, we get these stories and then we are dying to know the background of this character. A lot of times when people write that background, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But this one was one, like, how should I say this? Aside from being completely obsessed with Maverick, I just love how these 2 books too, you can read them in any order and it will all still make sense to you.
I was going to ask that, like, do you have a suggestion? Like, do you think that you could read them in any order? Because you read Concrete Rose first and then The Hate U Give. I read The Hate U Give and then Concrete Rose. And from our conversations, it doesn't sound like either way you could read it and you'll still love this this series and get as much out of it as we did.
Yeah. I think you can honestly read it in any order.
Agreed.
It's like, this book is just the cherry on top to me. Like, you know, no, the Hate U Give isn't necessarily dependent on it. And I don't think I would have liked it as much if it was too heavily dependent on this. But I just love how Angie's world building just comes to life even further in the Concrete Rose. Like, you just see like this web of characters and how they really work and how It makes me wonder too, did Angie already think that she was going to write this book before she wrote The Hate You Give, or did she write them concurrently? Like, I don't know.
Oh, that's a great point, because they came out like 4 or 5 years apart. And I wonder, when she was writing The Hate You Give, did she think, yo, I got Maverick's background story in my pocket? Like, because it is like, it's just so good. It's so like, prequels are hard to do. Like, I'm just be real. Like, prequels are very rarely good, in my opinion. Like, there's not like that. It's like a rarity that like you get a prequel where you're like, damn, this was awesome.
Yeah. I think, well, I mean, I guess, I don't know. So in the film world, we call them sides. Like when actors, they get their character and they have to create the background on this character themselves, because they'll get like a few sentences on who this character is, right? But they then have to take it a step further, and in order to step into this character's shoes, you have to build that world yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel, and with writing too, when you're trying to decide, when you're making your character list and you're drawing your web of how these characters are connected, like you kind of already, you do the same thing. You create sides for these characters a lot of times. And in my head, maybe when she was creating these sides, she like really went into Maverick. Like Maverick was probably like the character who kept calling her. And so then she created this dynamic story.
And then we get Concrete Maverick, Rose.
Yes, I just think everything in this book was needed. Nothing was too much or too little. Like, she really tapped into her Toni Morrison bag with this one. Like, in terms of like everything. I'm not going to give you too much. I'm not going to give you too little. Everything that I give you is just enough. And that is why this book has 5 stars for me. Ooh. How about you?
So, agree with all your points. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I thought it was beautiful, right? Like, I thought it was beautifully written. And it just made me want to root for Maverick constantly. Like, I just rooted for him so hard. I gave it 4.5 stars because, and it was nothing like about the story or the world building, anything like that. Because if you listen to the Hate You Give episode, I talked about it. Angie Thomas is phenomenal at this. I think it was just harder for me, because she does, and this is good to do, but she writes in the voice of the characters, and it just was hard because vernacular wise, like sometimes I would stumble over sentences, and it would take me a long time to read the like it was just a little bit more difficult for me. So that was like one thing, but I understood why it was done, right? Like, so just for me, that was like the one thing that I was like, I kind of wish like it wasn't so, because it was more dialogue heavy. And or even his inner monologue, his inner monologues, he would speak as his character would speak, which all makes sense. This is just me being like, that was one thing that gave me a little trouble. And that, like, I just had to think, like, was there anybody else that read this and it's like the Maverick's dialogue and what's the word I want to say? Not ebonics, but like
yeah, just the way that he talks.
Yeah, it's just the way he talks. It just was hard to. It can be hard to read. For me, it was hard to read sometimes, but it's still a flawless story. Phenomenal.
Yeah, because 90%, I would say 90% of this book, maybe 95% even of this book was Maverick's inner monologue.
Yes.
Which only leaves like 5% for the dialogue. So there's no like narration.
It's all inner monologue.
I see what you're saying.
So that was the thing that like just was a little difficult for me. But other than that, like, I thought it was a great story. I think Angie Thomas is just phenomenal. I'm so glad that you said like, I want to read these books for this collection, because I don't know, like, I never read anything by her prior to this, and I'm just like, okay, now I want to read every book you write. So, and that's a great feeling.
Yeah, what's left? Because the Hate You Give and Concrete Rose go together. Oop,
Yes.
I just moved my mic. The Hate You Give and Concrete Rose go together, but On the Come Up is a standalone story, right?
I believe On the Come Up is standalone.
I see On the Come Up and I see Concrete Rose. I don't see any other books, so maybe she does have these 3 novels.
Dude, and
she has these 3 novels.
She's killing it, and she's writing consistently. Like, she's putting out a book. Like, it looks like she's putting out a book every 2 years. And
she's just,
and her stuff is getting optioned because I think On the Come Up is they're making a TV show.
I heard about that too. Yep.
Go ahead, Ange. Ange, I'm so proud of you, girl. I feel like
baby girl is busy,
booked and busy, and I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like she's like, you know, like that like one of your cousins who's just like out there doing a thing. You super proud. Like, that's how I feel whenever I think about her and her books and her writing. So I'm gonna have to read On the Come Up because.
And on top of that, she's beautiful. So, like, there's that. Like,
oh my
how
gosh,
are you good looking and an author and a New York Times bestselling
I know,
author,
right?
like,
God,
and an actual good writer.
Yo, wait. She's talented, super creative, and she's gorgeous. She didn't want to say nothing for nobody else. Like, she was like, "No, I'm gonna take all this. Y'all good."
Period. Get all the coins. Get all the awards, girl. We're so proud of you.
We are. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that's it. Our next episode is going to be on Sister Souljah's classic novel, The Coldest Winter Ever. And you guys can catch us in 2 weeks.
Yeah, catch us in 2 weeks, and we will be back with The Coldest Winter Ever. Can't wait to talk about that novel with you, because lots of feelings there and revisits.
Lots of them. All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye, guys. Hey, guys. Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to Books We Should Have Read. And don't forget to leave suggestions for books you would like us to read for future collections. This podcast is a Books We Should Have Read production with sound engineering and editing by About Right Media. The dope-ass track you hear in the background was produced by Ty.2. That's Ty, T-Y, .2WO on Instagram. Hey, Ty. Follow Books We Should Have Read on Instagram at Books We Should Have Read to stay up to date with all the BWSR happenings. Follow Ashley at Bashwiser on Instagram and me at Kelly Likes to Read on Instagram. If you like what you heard and you want to support this Black woman-owned and operated movement financially, there is an Anchor link in the show notes where you can do just that. Any and everything is welcome and appreciated. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye y'all.